Hello my friends, if you like my work, please remember to click thumb up, subscribe to my channel or hit the notification bell to be informed about new videos. I'd just like to say thank you to all my patrons, please join them if you can, the link is in the description below. This is where we will get to today, so it's not a secret that I'm going to show you a painting of my Leopard. I'm used to it, and once again I show it public that the model degreaser is my favorite preparation that I use to clean the model after the construction stage. Simply to use, fast and effective. Prepares any surface, whether it's plastic, metal or resin. Just wipe the model with soaked brush and leave it to dry. After a few minutes we can start painting. If you are interested in, check the link in the description. Today I will do the painting with Mission Models paints for the first time, and I'm very curious what will come of it. I have a basic Nato camo kit here with thinner and poly. Of course also a primer for the set. Together with the paints I received the color catalog with instructions, which is quite good because it explains a lot. We can find there some characteristics and tips how to use the paints. There is also a color chart with all available colors prepared by Mission Models. I suggest that you stop the film for a moment and read what is written in the primer's instructions. I decided to follow it 100% and check how the producer prepared his products. Leopard is quite large and has a lot of flat surfaces, which means that we have quite a lot of painting. It sounds trivial, but it's true. It's not Panzer I or Panzer II, where in a few minutes we will cover the whole model with paint. This is where some airbrush work needs to be done. Okay, it was only pure talking, so it's time to make some airbrushing and to check how does it work. Let's go! The first color to cover the entire model is Nato green. Of course, this time there will be also poly in the whole mixture, which is necessary according to the instructions. Here you have all the information, so stop for a moment to read what the producer has to say. 3 drops of thinner, 3 drops of poly and 10 drops of paint. To be honest, I like this system because it gives accuracy and there are no doubts about the proportions. I start painting and slowly build the color with thin layers. I test, check and observe the behavior of the product. I'm curious how quickly it dries and how quickly you can achieve the right depth of color. For all of you who are here for the first time, and if you did enjoy today's video, please like it, write a comment, even to say hello, subscribe my channel, and please do it now. And remember that here you will find movies every Monday and often also on Thursdays. And if you have the opportunity, join to my Patreon because your support is highly appreciated and helps me to do what I do here at coldemonspl. Thanks to this, I will try to give you some interesting content to keep you informed and entertained. And as always, I would like to say thank you to all my patrons who support my work. You are great, guys. Oh, and just to remember, I also did an open the box episode where I show and talk a bit about this model. I prepared it as always so you can see up close how Border made the parts and what additionally is in the box. You can find the link in the description of this movie. The second color is of course Nato brown, and I diluted it exactly the same way as green. I decided to paint without masking and leave the soft edges of individual spots, although often but not always you can see that the camo on these tanks is sharp edged. I used the camo profile from the model instruction. The truth is that in the end on my model the size and arrangement of spots won't be as visible as in these colorful drawings. But you will see that in the next episodes. After applying the brown stains, I cleaned the airbrush. By the way, see that water and thinner are enough to do it. Of course when we finish painting, not the next day. Black paint was prepared the same as the previous ones and the fun continues. In the end I completed even the least accessible places under the turret and I have the camo ready. This is the result of my work and how the paints look on my model. Quite nice, isn't it? In my opinion it's quite natural, although maybe next time I'd consider a slight brightening of the colors. I mean the effect of scale and the amount of light that the surface of the model reflect compared to the real vehicle. But that's a very subjective assessment. Okay, now it's time for wheels. Earlier I painted them green, but now I will paint rubber bandages with a brush. I only diluted the paint with poly and I'm going to show you how it looks on the example of one wheel. I applied 2 thin coats and it was perfectly adequate. Maybe even one would be enough, but as I mentioned, I am testing, so I'm checking different possibilities. I also don't use my favorite masks from Quick Wheels because it didn't make sense in this situation. Next time for sure. The wheels received some detailing in the form of silver screws and red and yellow details in the middle. The edges of the wheels have also been painted silver to show off the chips effect. You can't always see them, but they do the job if we don't clog the wheel with mud. In addition, I also painted the surfaces slipped by the trucks. And speaking about the trucks, it's time to paint them. I started from the end, which means the color of the earth, dust, dirt, whatever we call it. It's about preliminary weathering. Dark earth is pretty good for this. After all the trucks were covered, I started to paint the polished areas from the inside as well as the outside. And of course teeth and outer edges, exactly as seen in the photos. This is probably proof enough that the trucks are silver, especially when the vehicle goes a little more down from the transport platform to the show stand. Please remember that the trucks are not weathered at this stage, so all surfaces will be treated with different products in the next episode. Now I'm only painting them to have the basic colors and to prepare for some heavier effects. I painted the rubber parts with the same paint that I used on the wheels. It works perfectly for this task. As I said couple seconds ago, later on the whole trucks will be appropriate weathering, so for now I'm not adding anything else to these elements. Now it looks much better. Do you remember how to paint towing cables? If not, please check the link above. Here is a perfect example to apply. It's often the case that the ropes are painted together with the camo. That's what I did on the model. The only thing that will be added is polishing the edges with a pencil. The effect is enough. Of course there will be weathering later and I plan to add some light dust to emphasize the weave on the ropes. Of course you have to rotate the model a bit to get to all the places. It takes a while, but it's worth it. I painted the end of the ropes with a lighter color, which is a mix of Nato green and light neutral tan. A few drops of poly and I have a reddy shade. In addition, I use it to brighten all the small elements on the surface of the hull and turret. This simple trick makes the surface of the model brighter. Contrary to appearances, these small dots give a nice effect. Some of them can also be silver. We have a signal light on the turret and I used orange transparent AK paint to make the correct shade. One layer covered and gave the right color. To mark the tank, I cut out the decals from the set provided by the producer. Crosses, license plates and fender markings are all I need. I didn't apply any varnish and the stickers are glued directly to the surface of the model. Then I will apply a glossy varnish before weathering and we will see how they look. In the meantime, I also painted the tools. I didn't want to leave them in camo colors because adding steel or rusty or wooden elements will significantly affect the appearance of the whole model. This is another little trick, but very effective. Once again, I prepared a mixture of lighter paint to slightly brighten the edges and the most visible surface refractions. Most of them will be covered with a camouflage net, but I treat it as another test of new paints. In my opinion, it was positive. In the end, I left the unmasking of the periscopes. With curiosity, I peeled off the masking tape, checking if any particles of paint got under it this time. Fortunately, it turned out that I did the masking job quite well and only had to cut the tape in one place because it accidentally stuck to the model. Summing up my first experience with mission model paints, I can say that it's a very nice product. I definitely like working with the drop system because it gives you the ability to precisely arrange the mixture of paints, thinner and poly. Painting runs smoothly on both large surfaces and small camo spots. They have no smell, which is extremely important to me because I work at home and around small children. They are completely natural and have a large volume. All this means that I will gladly try to work with them again, and this will probably happen on another project. For now, I definitely recommend checking them out if you haven't had the pleasure yet. So far, so good. In the next Leopard episode I will be working on Camouflage. This will be the next step in transforming this model into a panzer beast. That's all for today, see you next time, cheers!